Hello there. Welcome to the stream. I'm Father Roderick, and I'm recording late in the evening. Actually, I don't think I've ever been behind a computer streaming a podcast at this hour, this late in the day. The reason is I'm waiting for my computer in the editing room to finish rendering the documentary that I've just finished editing. I've been working almost nonstop since 9 o'clock this morning. It's now 11:13, and the thing is still rendering. So wow, that was quite a bit of work. It was an interesting experience, though. Hello, everyone in the chat. And I'll talk a little bit more in my show in the tech section about what I've learned from this whole process of editing this documentary. We'll also talk about Disney Plus, of course. What else can we talk about? And some other interesting stuff, hopefully. And I will have to interrupt the recording multiple times, probably, because in the video is going to be done rendering in 15 minutes from now. So I need to take a look at that. Then I need to save the separate audio channels, then I need to upload that via FTP to the broadcasting company. So I'll be here for another hour. Do I like nuggets? Oh gosh, I'd eat anything right now. I'm starving. I didn't take time to eat or rest or anything. It's been insane. Thanks for the Star Wars videos. Yeah, I love doing that. I'm recording the Mandalorian review. It was another late night recording, the Mandalorian thing, and I made the stupid mistake in the end to position. I had this theory about the revelation at the end. I won't spoil it here, and then I didn't think of what we see in episode 7. So gosh, or not episode 7, actually episode 8, The Last Jedi. There's something that in there that totally invalidates my theory. Well, anyway, that's what happens. All right, so I'm going to record the show now. My apologies if I don't always respond to your comments right away. It's because I also have a show to run, and I got to keep in mind that 15 minutes from now, the video is going to be done rendering. So bear with me. It's going to be a little bit hectic. Here we go. Hey there, and welcome to another episode of my weekly show. I'm Father Roderick, and it is late at night. This could be a late night show. Because I'm recording this, believe it or not, 11:15. I should be in bed, and instead I'm behind a microphone. What happened? I'll tell you all about it and more in this episode. This show is brought to you thanks to my patrons. They allow me to do this kind of work. The Pope doesn't pay me for this. And it also helps me to provide all this content free of advertisements. I hate advertisements in my podcasts, also on YouTube. I just turn it off. Turn it off. But then I can do that because I have people that support me in another way. And I think the Patreon system is so much better to support creators like me than just stupid advertisements. So thank you so much if you're a patron. If you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/Father Roderick. And for my patrons, I always record an extra podcast, and there will be lots and lots of goodies in the weeks to come for my patrons. So if you have a dime to spare, then please check it out.
Do you know what's going on? This is what's happening in your world.
Face it, Catholics rule. We got Boston, South America, the good part of Ireland, and we're making serious inroads in Mozambique, baby.
You've taken your first step into a larger world.
So here's what's going on in my part of the world. The reason that I'm behind a microphone at 11:15, or it's actually now 70 minutes past 11, is that I have been working against a deadline. Now, you know how much I hate deadlines. That's why I love podcasting. That's why I love YouTube. I can just go online, record something whenever I feel like it and whenever I have the energy. But when you work in television like I do, there are these deadlines that you have to meet. And so I've been working from 9 o'clock this morning till, well, just 15 minutes ago. I stopped working and I had to edit a documentary about Ireland. And this today, I did all the video editing in one day, which is quite a lot of work for a show that will be 25 minutes long on television. It's got hundreds and hundreds of edits. I had to do a lot of color correction, lots of technical stuff. And right now, it's rendering. So you can edit something, but then the computer needs to still calculate all those, modifications, the cuts you made, the audio modifications, the color correction, all that has to be rendered. And that takes time. That takes about 40 minutes. And so it's currently in the final 15 minutes. And I was like, what am I going to do? Just sit here and stare at my desk or a desktop computer, or record the show that I wanted to record on Tuesday, but I couldn't because I was writing the documentary. This television work so not for me. Anyway, we're going to talk about a lot of things. The biggest news, of course, was the launch of Disney Plus, and oh my goodness, we love it, don't we all? Well, those of us that actually have access to Disney Plus, because I'm so sad for all my listeners that live in countries where the service has not launched yet. It's not that you have nothing to do, because you can always watch Netflix or regular TV. Does that even exist anymore? But you're missing out on all the excitement about these, the things that they're launching right now, and you're bound to get spoiled.
How do you not like movies?
They're predictable. Like, the guy gets the girl, and that kid sees dead people, and Darth Vader is Luke's father.
Not liking movies is like not liking puppies.
They're fine. I just get bored and never make it to the end.
You need a movie education. You need a movication. I'm gonna give it to you.
The biggest release, of course, on Disney Plus for, geeks like I am, was The Mandalorian. This is the first time ever that we get to see a real-life television series in the world of Star Wars. This is actually what George Lucas originally kind of conceived and wanted Star Wars to be. He based Star Wars on the old Saturday afternoon or Saturday matinee movies about Flash Gordon. They would be serialized. And so in his mind, Star Wars would be a perfect fit for that kind of storytelling. It's incredible that it took so many decades for this to materialize, but it actually arrives. And I have to say, it works. It totally works. Now, of course, this is going to be totally spoiler-free because, a lot of you haven't seen the episode yet or are still waiting for Disney+. And I hope that my fellow Star Wars fans will also respect those of you that haven't been able to watch this yet, because nothing worse than spoilers. I mean, I've tried to stay spoiler free, for instance, for Game of Thrones. I was very far behind. I didn't even have all the episodes because, I don't have HBO, so I need to buy them on Blu-ray, or someone else has to lend them to me. So I haven't finished the last 2 seasons, and for months, my Facebook and Twitter feeds were so dangerous because of all the potential spoilers that were posted there. So I had a filter that I installed to filter out everything that could remotely be Game of Thrones related, and even though I had that filter, still some of the leaks, some of the spoilers came through. Now with The Mandalorian, especially the first episode, has a really big thing. That's all I'm going to say about it. There's this big thing, and you don't want to know it. If you haven't seen it yet, you don't want to know that. And I so hope that you can stay spoiler-free until you see it. But as for those of you that have been able to enjoy Disney Plus now, told you so. In the Netherlands, we've had Disney Plus for a couple of months now because they were testing it out. And it's a very, very good service. I mean, I enjoy it just as much as I do Netflix, even though it's a very different animal, a mouse. It's a different platform. It's got a very family-friendly inventory or catalog. Netflix is much more diverse. You have horror in there. You've got stuff for adults. You've got kids stuff. But it's kind of hodgepodge. It's got a lot of content that is made exclusively for Netflix. That, of course, for Disney is not a problem whatsoever because they own everything that's on there. They own National Geographic, they own Pixar, they own Marvel, they own Star Wars, Lucasfilm, and, of course, their own productions. And that catalog is among the most popular catalogs in the world, I think, when it comes to movies and TV shows. So I think if you add up Netflix and Amazon Prime and Disney, basically, you should stop worrying that you're missing out because, per definition, you are constantly missing out. There's no way in the world that someone can watch everything that's on there. And so in my shows, I always try to stay topical. I try to review things that are new. But I guess I have to be even more picky in the future and really look at the big things that most of my audience have seen. Because otherwise, and then maybe I'll find some gems here and there, and I can give you some tips. This is what I enjoyed. Nobody watches it. Go watch it. That's probably the only thing that I can do. But a couple of years ago, when I was still a young podcaster, I was doing all these different series about a ton of different television series. I do Star Trek, Harry Potter, Star Wars, Tintin. I don't know, 20, 30 different series I think I've done over time. And I try to kind of target all these niche audiences with those podcasts. And I'm so glad I don't do that anymore because it's impossible. You cannot follow everything, watch everything. And for me, the best attitude, even when it comes to, if you only have Disney Plus, there's so much on Disney Plus. How are you going to watch all that? And that can make you anxious and it's like, I'm missing out. I haven't seen it yet. The best thing is take a look at what you have and just pick what you think you will enjoy. And if you don't care for it, let it go. Take something else. And just try to enjoy and stay in the moment. That is the best remedy against the fear of missing out, is just be in the moment. If you're watching something that you like, even if it's, I don't know, a National Geographic documentary, don't think in the back of your mind, oh, but I've got such a list of other stuff that I need to see. That'll make you just go from one series to another, and you'll end up with all these loose threads, all these series that you started to watch and never finished. I think it's better to just jump into a couple of series, enjoy them to the fullest, go online, find a podcast that talks about it, and move on once you finish that. But don't worry don't think that you need to watch everything because it's impossible. Hey, so Disney, awesome. I also love The Simpsons on there. 30 seasons. Gosh, I stopped collecting the DVDs at one point. I bought all the DVD boxes for about 12 years, I think, because of all the director's commentaries. I mean, those DVD boxes, every episode had live commentary, and I learned so much about The Simpsons, about how all those episodes came to be. I love all those extras, and I'm glad to see that actually on the Disney Plus platform they do have extras. They do show you like behind the scenes stuff or smaller documentaries. Maybe in the future they will even offer director's commentaries. I really hope so. So really like the fact that I can now catch up on the 15 seasons of The Simpsons that I haven't seen yet because I don't have them on DVD and they're not on, well, I don't have television, so I've not been able to see them. And that's a lot of fun. And then, of course, every once in a while you get nostalgic and you want to see one of those classic Disney movies that you watched when you were a kid. It's all there now, and I'm loving it. For those of you that are not able to watch Disney Plus right now, I will give you a few more tips on Netflix. So I've been watching the last few episodes of The Good Place. If you haven't seen that series yet, highly recommend it. It talks about people that end up in what they think is heaven, but turns out to be some kind of a test by the demons in hell. And there's a lot of I think this is now the 4th season, and it's so good and it's so funny. And actually, it's quite educational as well. They put in a lot of philosophy, a lot of these big questions, and at the same time, it stays super entertaining. And it's going to wrap up in a couple of episodes from now. I don't know how they're going to finish it. I think it's a good thing that they're wrapping things up now because, there's only so much that you can do with the concept of the show. But it's one of those series that I really am glad that I've seen every single episode of. For All Mankind, I watched the 3rd episode. That's, of course, is Apple's TV Plus service. It's all plus nowadays. For All Mankind, it's the only thing that I've watched. I watched one episode of C with Momoa, which, was kind of okay-ish. But towards the end, there was kind of this totally unnecessary, blasphemous, stupid scene where they all of a sudden, we need more, shocking content. We need to do a little bit of Game of Thrones. We have 5 minutes left. Let's just do this. And didn't really enjoy it that much, that series. But For All Mankind, loving it. It's Ronald D. Moore. That's all I'm going to say. Speaking of Ronald D. Moore, I finally started rewatching Outlander on Netflix. Outlander filmed in Scotland, most of it, some of it the studio work. Also written and directed, not everything I think, but definitely written. Well, it's scripted. It's the screenplay. It's based on books, actually. The screenplay is by Ronald D. Moore, and also, the way to turn that into watchable television. And it's very good. And of course, it's got that Scottish vibe, so there's a lot to enjoy. And I've seen, I think, one season. I totally forgot about the entire story, so I had to go back and rewatch everything. But even if you don't have Disney Plus, there is so much to enjoy, so don't worry too much about it. There's always something on TV.
Catholics rock!
It's time for the Peculiar Bunch, and here at the Peculiar Bunch, we're always happy to tell you everything you always wanted to know about those darn Christians, but you were afraid to ask.
Catholics can be a peculiar bunch. No meat on Friday.
Oh, meat? What do they eat? Light bulbs?
Well, no light bulbs for Catholics, but they do have their weird things, and also sometimes weird people and weird groups.
Man, you guys got more crazy rules than Blockbuster Video.
So as you know, I travel between various churches. There are 15 churches in 2 parishes that I serve as one of the people of the pastoral team. I'm not the only priest, fortunately, one of 3 priests. And so I get to a lot of different churches, a lot of different people, and they almost always are extremely different and diverse. Sometimes I'm in a very liberal parish and everybody loves to talk about, social justice and the ecology and and then in other parishes, they're much more kind of traditional, Orthodox Catholic, and you'll have conversations in the back of the church about, the rosary and that sort of stuff. So the other day I was in one of those churches and a lady comes to me at the end of Mass, and she almost always gives me feedback, usually very kind, very positive. Definitely someone for who, let's say, the devotional side of faith is very important. So she takes my arm. She says, "Do you know this website?" And then she gives me a URL, and I was like, "I have not heard of it." And so you have to really check it out. It's very important. It will explain everything that's going on in the church and in the world. Everything you always wanted to know. I'm thinking that sounds like the Peculiar Bunch. But it's like this one website, according to her, was the definitive answer to all these confusing things that were happening in the church. What with the Amazon Synod and all the, these weird statues and Pope Francis doing all sorts of worrying things and the devil being at work in the world. But go to this website and everything will become clear. Now, needless to say that I'm always a little bit skeptical when people tell me that a website contains, the answer to all the questions in the universe. As far as I know, the only answer to that question can be found in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. But just kidding. So I went to this website, and I'm starting to read some of those articles, and it's all in this red alert mode. It's like the world is coming to an end. The church is coming to an end. These bishops are all wrong. The devil is everywhere. And I was like, okay. That's a lot of bad tidings. And then, but here's the solution. This is what the Virgin Mary tells us to do. And then they have these prophecies, like the Virgin Mary talking to the website, I guess, or at least the website reprints those prophecies. And I'm reading that, and I was like, so according to this prophecy, it has been foretold that there will be 2 popes at one time, and one will be the real pope, and the other one will be the devil himself. It will be the false pope who's going to lead all of us to hell unless we stay faithful to the rosary. And it just goes on like that. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, well, what's the source of this? Where are these prophecies coming from? And I Google a little bit, and it turns out it's this lady from Ireland. Now, I love Ireland, and it's a very spiritual country, but it doesn't mean that everything that comes from Ireland is necessarily, something that I can condone or even, tolerate. So apparently, these prophecies on that website came from a lady who calls herself Maria Divine Mercy. And she's anonymous. Nobody knows who she is. At least, according to lore, nobody knows who. Some journalists figured out who she was. But anyway, according to her website, she is a Roman Catholic married mother of a young family living in Europe. And she has been receiving messages from the Holy Trinity, as well as by the Virgin Mary. The woman wishes to be known by the name Maria Divine Mercy, and says that it is the wish of Jesus that she remains anonymous to protect her family and to avoid any distraction from the messages. The messages have been received since November 2010 and are still ongoing. Over 650 messages have been received. So, I'm looking at those messages as a theologian, and I'm thinking, this is completely made up. This is so confused, and it's confusing the readers. And there is no way in the world and in the universe and in the galaxy and in eternity that this can come from the Virgin Mary or from God, because it's wrong in so many ways. So, and there are actually really, really pretentious things in those messages. So according to her own revelations, Jesus told her that Mary is the 7th messenger, an angel. I think, that's not possible, because humans are not angels. Angels are pure spirits. Humans have a spirit, a soul, and a body. And there is a ontological difference between an angel and a human. So a human, a lady who receives messages, can never be an angel, because that's not what humans are. So that's just one of the many, many, many crazy things. So according to her, Pope Benedict XVI is the last pope on earth and chosen by Jesus to lead the church during the last days. Red alert, last days, end of the world coming soon. Please donate here. That's kind of what I'm suspecting here. And Pope Benedict would be forced from office, according to the prophecy. He will be ousted from the Holy See in Rome, and this plan was launched within the corridors of the Vatican. And now that he has resigned, people will try to kill him. They will say that he was guilty of a crime of which he's totally innocent. So these are all these predictions and prophecies. Well, it turns out that a lot of these prophecies actually emerged right after Pope Benedict resigned. So It's like predating your email. Like, I did send you that email 5 days ago. Did you or did you hear that about the messages for Valentine's Day that only now start to arrive? People are faking that and saying, "But I sent you a message. Must be one of those messages that never arrived." The thing is with these private revelations, always be super suspicious when it's not been verified, when the church has not pronounced itself about stuff like that. That lady also refers to lots of other seers and apparitions that have been declared invalid or, not credible by the Catholic Church. This is basically what happens if you have spirituality or intuition or whatever you want to call it without verification by the church. That's why in the Catholic Church we have a magisterium, we have a hierarchy, we have a pope, we have bishops that have the mandate to discern whether something, even though it may be experienced as something that comes straight from heaven, but you still need the church to verify if that's truly the case or not. That's why we have theologians as well. That's why we have dogmas. That's all to put things to the test, because nothing is more treacherous than your own, intuition or what you feel. Your feelings can be so wrong. And so that is why in the church, these private revelations, as we call them, are never obligatory for anyone. Not even Marian apparitions, not Lourdes. If you're a Catholic and you don't believe in Lourdes, that's totally fine. That nobody will well, some people will be upset about that, but let's say so. If you know what the church stands for, you wouldn't be upset about that, because it's never adding anything to what we already have received through the gospel, through the apostles, and through the apostolic tradition, and through the sacraments. A private revelation can only, let's say, illustrate, explain, intensify maybe devotion, but it can never replace things that the Catholic Church holds dear. And that is why this Maria Divine Mercy, that's to me is in the category false prophets and someone who's maybe fooling herself. Turns out, some journalists dug up who this person was. Turns out it's actually not one person, it's two people. It's a lady and her daughter. And the lady has been in real estate, and then she changed jobs and became a full-time seer and is selling her prophecies and most of all her books for a lot of money to a lot of people that totally believe her because, well, she tells things that people want to hear. It's what often happens in these scams, because this is basically a spiritual scam, is they will tell you that even though the world may seem complicated and very threatening, it's so simple. It's just black and white. And here's the recipe. Do this, and there will be nothing to worry in your life anymore. There will be no more trouble. You will understand everything. All that, of course, is not true. Our life is complicated. Our world is complicated, and there are no simple solutions. The only simple thing that you can do to make sense of all of this is to love. But love in itself, even though that sounds simple, is very complicated to put into practice. But the church would always say, yes, there is a simple answer to everything. The answer is love. But then you need to work hard to make that a reality and to open your heart for that love and to learn how and discern how to apply that universal commandment of, love God, love your neighbor as you love yourself, to translate that in all these practical situations. But we're not saved by saying, a number of rosaries every day or something like that. Anyway, just wanted to share that with you. Just the funny things that you read and hear from time to time. It's crazy.
When did you become an expert in thermonuclear astrophysics?
Last night. The packet. The extraction theory papers. Am I the only one who did the reading?
I don't think I could do any reading tonight anymore. It's so late. Sometimes I read in bed. I have a Kindle, and I wake up because the Kindle falls on the floor. I'm so glad these things are pretty sturdy. But I just fall asleep and then, what was that? Where am I? What time is it? Sometimes I listen to audiobooks. That too happens to me. I was reading the other day a post on Facebook by my friend Jimmy Akin, and he said that he was listening to an audiobook and he was telling Alexa to stop reading the audiobook because Alexa can read audiobooks. He said stop, and the thing didn't stop and just continues to read. And he said stop, and again he yelled stop. And the personal assistant did not obey. It turns out he was dreaming. He woke up. He's like, oh, no wonder. And he had fallen asleep while listening to the audiobook. And so in his dream, he was yelling, but not in real life. That could have been me. That happens to me also from time to time where I fall asleep. Sometimes when I have too much in my mind, like today, I've been working so hard. I know that I will have trouble sleeping because in my mind, I will continue to edit. It's just crazy. You've been behind this computer for 12, 14 hours in one day, and the mind doesn't stop anymore. So sometimes what I do to kind of calm me down is I turn on a very boring podcast. There are lots of boring podcasts out there. And so I take the one that is very monotonous, where the person behind the microphone is talking about quantum mechanics, and especially the more complicated theoretical side of quantum mechanics. I'm not going to give any examples because that would excite the listener. Instead, I will continue to talk about just the theoretical aspects of quantum mechanics, and quantum physics as is also part of the discussion. And I was like, I zone out in 1 minute, and I'll. But sometimes the podcast software that I use will line up other podcasts that are still on my to listen to list. And then all of a sudden you'll have, I don't know, like a news report or a political podcast or this long technical podcast about Apple software. It just goes on, and I wake up like at 4 o'clock in the morning and the iPad is still droning on. Oh boy. Anyway. So I have been listening to another audiobook, which actually I got the idea because I read an article, kind of a clickbaity article. I don't know where it was, on The Verge or something like that. And they said, this passage in the novelization of the Revenge of the Sith is going to completely change what you think of Darth Vader. So I don't know if I'm the only one who was a little bit disappointed in the transformation of Darth Vader at the end, or Anakin into Darth Vader at the end of Revenge of the Sith. I thought it was done a bit quickly, a bit abruptly, and of course you have that no, which is not working. So it turns out in the novelization, as is often the case, also for the Return of the Jedi, for instance, if you don't like that movie, try reading the novel, and it gives you, all of a sudden gives you all sorts of insights. And a lot of the information in the novelization sometimes comes from deleted scenes, from pre-production work that was done, character development. Usually when a new character is introduced, they have written a backstory, and these authors can use that backstory for their novelizations. So in this case, Revenge of the Sith, there's this entire internal monologue or dialogue. Is it monologue or dialogue when you speak to yourself? I don't know. Anyway, Darth Vader, all the stuff that's going through his mind while he's being transformed into Vader. And it's pretty good. It is actually pretty good. And it's makes me wish that they had done something similar in the movie. I don't know how you do that with, it's like an inner voice, but it feels like the novelization does much more justice to the drama of what's happening. This is a tragedy, and it's so quick in the movie that the novel gives it room to breathe, and it becomes so much better. And then after having read the novel, you go back to the movie, and then all of a sudden it resonates much more. This is also, by the way, one of the reasons that I'm so glad that Disney is going to do more Star Wars television, because look at The Mandalorian, how much time they took in that first episode. Some people said it was boring and it was slow. But I'm thinking, no, this is great. You see this, this Mandalorian being initiated, growing, learning, stumbling, being surprised. And we also, since we identify with him, we also get to go through all these emotions. And if this had been a movie, just one movie, think of Kenobi. They wanted to do a Kenobi movie. Now they're going to do a series. I think that's so much better because we will have so much more time to go in depth in these experiences of Obi-Wan after the purge, before he takes Luke under his wings. There are going to be so many more opportunities to turn this into a story that will have much more emotional impact than you could ever do in a movie. So, that was a good experience, rereading the novel of Revenge of the Sith. I also read another book. It's called The World According to Star Wars by a certain Mr. SUNSTEIN. That was fun. That's a book that I wanted to write. It's basically like a personal take on what Star Wars has meant to him and how many times in his life Star Wars, was important to him and helped him decide and learn and whatnot. So both books highly recommended. And with that, it is time for a little break and a little jingle. In the meantime, I'm going to run to the other room and see how far the rendering process has come. Hip hip hooray! The rendering is done, which means I can almost go home and go to bed.
I see aliens. Little aliens from outer space.
And how are things in outer Plutonia?
How many times have I told you not to wear your space boots in the house?
Go to shape I'm in, you can donate my body to science fiction.
Get your suit on! We need you!
Okay, this is going to be the last segment, and it's going to be dedicated to technology and some of the tech that almost feels like science fiction. Sometimes I'm working with technology, and I stop and I have to pinch myself, and I ask myself, am I really doing this? Is this technology actually in my hands right now? Because I've been dreaming about this for most of my life, and now it's right here. Example, virtual reality, augmented reality, the stuff that Apple is working on right now. And I just read an article that their AR goggles are just around the corner, maybe next year, maybe 2 years from now, but they are investing year after year after year. I read that was it more than 100 people or more than 1,000? No, probably more than 100 people working on the development of those AR glasses, which means that for Apple, this is not just a test or, let's just try out something. They're very committed to making this AR device a reality. And I think for Apple, it's probably the smartest move ever because it will help them solidify their position for years to come. In the Android world, there's nothing that comes even close to what Apple is doing right now in terms of the power of their chips, but also the integration with other devices. Think of the watch, the integration of the iPad with the desktop computers, and they're doing a lot of innovative work that I think lays the groundwork for what they're going to do with AR. And once the goggles are there and they look fancy and everybody wants to have them, then I think that will help them sell their iPhones for years to come, because the phone initially is going to be the processing device, sending the images back to the glasses. And then once the technology is small enough and powerful enough and the battery technology has advanced enough, they can put it all just in glasses, then no need to compete in the world of cell phones anymore. They just can sell these very expensive high-tech glasses. I think it's very cool, and I never thought that I would live to see the day. Well, it depends, of course. I still have to live to see the day that becomes a reality, but it's going to be awesome. Another piece of technology that I've basically discovered to be something of dreams is my current cell phone, the Asus Zenfone 6. I've been raving about that phone for a couple of times now. I just actually ordered a second phone, exactly the same one, not because I need another phone, but because of the camera quality. And also something that is pretty unique to the Asus is that the camera in the back flips up and can also film you from the front. So it also functions as a front camera. And to have that versatility, to have the same camera quality, both as a back camera for regular, if you hold your phone in a regular way, but also if you want to film yourself, having two lenses, a wide-angle lens and a regular, high-quality lens for filming, and also pretty good audio. I'm constantly, you may have seen the vlogs that I posted on from Scotland and from England. Some of those vlogs were recorded in high winds, and you can still hear what I'm saying. It's incredible. I don't know how they do it. There's a lot of post-processing in the device, which I think is proprietary for Asus or Asus. The stabilization is only digital, but it's one of the best stabilizations that I've ever seen. It's better than my Canon M50. That's saying a lot. And so the reason that I wanted to mention it here again is that what I've been doing today from 9 to 11, how many hours is that? 3 plus, that's 14 hours of work in the editing room here next door. I edited an entire television episode that was shot on my cell phone, and it looks amazing. It really looks good. There is a little bit of compression sometimes, especially if I have these vistas of Ireland and you've got a lot of grass in the foreground, then you'll see some of the compression because the bitrate is not as high as you would have on, let's say, a Canon or a Nikon camera or a Sony. But it's still pretty high resolution. It looks better than any iPhone that I've ever used. And it's also, what surprised me is how much information is in every image. There were some images that were a little bit blown out to, the software thought that it needed more light, and so it let more light in. But I can tone that down. I can do a lot of color correction. And in some cases, I can do more color correction than I could do on Canon material. It's insane. I don't know how that works, how they do it. They even have, I think, HDR filming where, I'm filming myself and the sun is in my back. Normally, you'd see a silhouette on almost any camera, not on the Asus. You'll see both the color of the sky and you'll see me. And I don't know how they do it, but it's incredible. So the only trick that I had to figure out, and if you listen to the walk this week, I've also explained that, is to make sure that I could use the 30 FPS, 30 frames per second, in a 25 FPS, so 25 frames per second project for television. So here in Europe, the broadcasting norm is 25 frames per second, whereas my phone, more geared towards the American market, has 30 frames per second. So if you want to squeeze 30 frames into 25 frames, you either do it by leaving out frames and then everything gets choppy, or you blend frames together, everything gets mushy, or, and this is what I've been doing, and that's the first time I've ever done that, you slow down the footage a little bit. So you spread those 30 frames. You will tell the software, just see this as 25 frames per second. So it slows down the image a little bit, and you get that nice, buttery, smooth, not quite slow motion, but it slows down a little bit. And because a lot of the images were of me walking, of landscapes, I hardly recorded anything in Dutch. That was the big problem. So I had to do everything with voiceover, which I think in hindsight, yeah, I probably overdid it a little bit. I stuffed this episode with so much content, and it's just running out of time. Normally I'd let it rest for a day, and I'd go back to it and probably take out at least 10 or 20% of all the voiceovers just to help people, breathe. But instead, it's just voiceover, information, pretty pictures. 25 minutes long. I hope that people will watch it all the way to the end, because I'm pretty proud of what I filmed. And it's quite incredible that I was able to do that with just a phone. And I'm thinking the only thing that I need to add to this phone is a good microphone. I bought it's right here behind me somewhere in the room. Oh, I don't know. Oh, which reminds me, I need to unpack some stuff. I got some presents. What was I saying? I bought a Rode microphone that you can use in conjunction with the phone. It's got my phone fortunately has a regular headphone entrance or plug thing, also for microphones, for external microphones. And so there's this directional microphone that you can put on the phone itself. And I'm thinking I could probably film a lot of my TV work with just the phone. Imagine how useful this will be for, travels where I can't take much with me, for if I want to go film while I'm hiking. I remember when I was walking in Spain, when I was walking the Camino, you can only carry like 7 kilograms of stuff, including your boots and your clothes. So you don't want to lug a camera with you, but I could take a phone and still film television. It was just mind-boggling what technology can do nowadays. And with that, it is time for a final little thing that I need to do. I have to take my headphones off for a second and get 2 boxes that I'm going to show you because, well, I said in my initial reaction to Disney Plus, I said, this feels like Christmas morning in November because I woke up super early and lo and behold, Disney Plus was there. But there is another reason that it feels a little bit like Christmas morning because people are sending me presents. The first thing that I received in the mail, and I don't know who sent this to me, is very cool, the Harry Potter Lego Advent Calendar. And so it's got 24 boxes or windows in the back that you can open. They're you have to pull them out, and then for every day there is a little Lego thing that is Harry Potter related that you can put together. And it's got 2 exclusive figures, I think 2. It's got Harry with his the pullover that Ron's mom made for him, with the H on it. It's got Hermione, also I think in an outfit that we haven't seen before, and it's got Dumbledore. I'm not sure if those are the only 3. No, actually there's Ron also with his Christmas pullover. So those I think are exclusive to this set. It's very cool. It came from Amazon and didn't say who sent it to me. So if you're watching this, know that I'm super, super, super happy with this, and I'm going to have a great Advent. The second thing that I received in the mail is also very cool. It's this nondescript box. And I was like, what is this? I didn't order anything. So I open it. And lo and behold, what is in here? I waited to unpack this for the stream. But look at this. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a handmade knit Yoda. This is completely handmade. This was actually made by one of my television viewers. She's a grandma, and she saw, I think on Facebook, how excited I was about Star Wars, and so she decided to make me this. And I can't believe how cool this is. So she sent me a note the other day. It's like, can I have your address? Because I made you something. I'm like, sure. So I'm thinking a postcard or something like that. And instead, I get this huge, huge Yoda. And oh my goodness. So this is, look at that. Look at how cool that is. He's got his Jedi robe. He's got his mouth there so he can smile a little bit. And he's got really nice, beautiful green ears. And he's got hands with the three fingers on it. And he's got legs. And all this is handmade. I mean, unbelievable. And it's so soft. This is the Yoda puppet that I wish I had when I was a child. But it's so, I mean, amazing. This must have taken weeks I don't know. Actually, I've never done this craft before, but it is unbelievable, and I'm so glad. And look at all those different colors. So on the inside, he's all brown because he's also wearing like a brown jumpsuit or something like that. And the ears are just amazing. So thank you so much for this. It is really, really cool. And I want to extend that thank you to all of you who sometimes send me stuff or just support me with a patron donation or something like that. I know that it may be $1 a month or $2 a month or $5 or more. For some of you, that is all you can miss. And so I really appreciate it because it's the gesture. It's kind of the affection that you show and your support for what I do. And I really appreciate that. And I can't thank you enough for that generosity. So that's what I wanted to share with you at the end of this long day. I'm now going to upload the show, the television episode, to the FTP server. It's 3 minutes past midnight, and I'm going to go home, and I'm going to go sleep. Good night. May the Force be with you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for today. Thank you so much for all the... Oh, there's been a lot of chatter. Actually, now that I'm at it, I'm already... I'm going to be in bed late and I'm going to be tired anyway. So I may as well just go through your comments. And usually what I do, I record a little after show, which is basically the discussion with the chat room. And we distribute that to the patrons as a thank you every week. So they get their own RSS feed for that. And at first I was like, oh, I'm going to do that tomorrow because I'm just tired. But I'm already tired. So why not just answer your questions? Otherwise, you've posted all those comments for nothing, for naught. Hello and welcome to the after show, also recorded after midnight. It is now 4 minutes past midnight. I should be in bed, but instead I'm recording this after show because there are a ton of people in the chat room. I guess that's the advantage of recording late at night, is that, North America is up. And so I got a lot of people that normally would never catch a stream and now are in the chat room, and they've posted a lot of questions and comments. So I just want to go through them and record that for you because you're a patron, and I love you. So we got a lot of screen names that I've never seen, and some people say, and I got a lot of these comments. And people say your channel on YouTube is so wholesome, and I don't know. It's just I hope my channel reflects who I am, and apparently that's something that a lot of people appreciate. Sometimes people say it's because there is no negativity, and I do always try to stay positive and to look for the bright side. I may be critical from time to time, but I always try to stay clear of just sheer negativity or cynicism or something like that, because that's not going to make the world a better place. And also put a lot of effort and a lot of time. It's usually something that you don't see, but I spend a lot of time every day cleaning up the comments. So I go through all the comments. Usually, if you post a comment on my YouTube channel, it will be held in waiting so that I can look at it. And if it's negative, if it's insulting, if it's swearing, if it's bad words, bad language, or it's ad hominem attack to other people in the comments, I sift it out, and it will never be seen again. And that's for me another. It's a way to serve my audience, because I want them to feel safe when they're commenting. I don't want them to feel like I am going to post this and then someone else is going to completely destroy me. I wouldn't want that to happen to me, although, of course, I see all the bad stuff that you never get to see. But I think I can handle it. I can pray for those people, right? But other people may get hurt, and I don't want that to happen. Not on my watch. Do you like nuggets? Polygram wants to know. Oh, yes, they're awesome. Did you ever find the Star Wars documentary? I think MN is referring to the Star Wars documentary on Disney Plus, which I have watched, and it is really good, even though almost everything I had already seen in one way or another. But it's nice to see it packaged so well, and it's a really, really great documentary, and reminds us of the greatness of the original trilogy and how much of a challenge it was to make it happen. Attack of the Menace says, I loved your Mandalorian review. Just wish they had more females in there. Might just wait. I think it will be quite balanced and in terms of representation. It's Disney, right? They want to cater to a very large worldwide audience. Do you think that you will go to the Rise of Skywalker premiere? I hope so. I haven't bought any tickets, but if the past years have been any indication, usually I get a mail like a couple of weeks beforehand from Disney the Netherlands, and they will invite me to the premiere because, well, we're a very small country, and being a massive Star Wars fan that also has a global audience, has sometimes these videos that go viral from doing a review of the Star Wars trailer on St. Peter's Square. Usually that's enough to kind of get put on the list, and so I think I'll be fine. And I always take my brother with me when we go to those premieres, and this is probably going to be the last time for a long time that I'm going to take my brother with me. We've seen all the Star Wars movies together. That's quite special, isn't it? My brother and I were very much the same. If you'd hear his voice, you'd think he's me, and vice versa. Even though when he speaks English, he speaks it with a very British accent, whereas I, of course, try to emulate this more North American accent, kind of nondescript Californian accent. But anyway, he's a big Star Wars fan. I'm a big Star Wars fan. He hates The Last Jedi. He cannot stand Kathleen Kennedy and what they have done to Lucasfilm. I, on the contrary, I loved The Last Jedi. I'm a big fan of what Kathleen Kennedy did for the franchise and for Star Wars. And so we're so opposite in our view of where Star Wars is heading. But that is what makes it so interesting. We can talk for hours and hours and hours, and we'll never agree. Captain Nintendo Man likes my setup. Guess referring to my microphone. It's a nice one, yes. Lackland says, I'm not blaming people in the UK for pirating The Mandalorian. March 2020 is just too long. Yeah, I think that's bound to happen. I guess that Disney kind of knew that was going to happen. It happened with Game of Thrones as well, and still made HBO billions of dollars. So, yeah, I don't think they worry too much about it. And as soon as in the UK the service is launched, everybody who has watched The Mandalorian will want to subscribe, because it's much easier to subscribe than to download all that stuff. What do you think of The Mandalorian? Well, go to my YouTube page, and it's right there, what I think of The Mandalorian. I did an in-depth review. I did a first reaction video. It's awesome. What do you think of the warnings Disney Plus gives on programs like Dumbo for racist depictions? Oh, do they do that? Wow, that's very politically correct. I've not seen it. Hello there, dear Padawan. What Marvel shows are you looking forward to? Well, I haven't seen Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. yet, and I hear it's very good, so that's what I'm going to be watching once I finish the Clone Wars. Let's see, what else is there? Do you think that Disney will put the Star Wars Holiday Special in Disney Plus? I don't think they're going to do that, but I wish they would. The good part of Ireland. I've been in both parts of Ireland, and they're both good. I hope they cast you on a Star Wars show. Would you ever play a non-pure character if it's just acting? Hey, I'd play anything if they put me in Star Wars. Even a gonk droid. Or a moisture evaporator. I'm very good. My moisture evaporator is out of this world. It's one of the best impersonations that you can get in the world. No, I'm just kidding. I don't care. But that's never going to happen. So, but it's always nice to dream. I should be invited to the Star Wars celebration. I'm going to a local to Echo Base Con, which is in the Netherlands, which is a convention for charity, and I'll be on a Star Wars panel there. So that's cool. I hope that one day I can go to a Star Wars celebration. Who knows? Maybe next year. I'll let you know. Besides that Disney Plus release event, what is your opinion on the stikstofmaatregelen? The environmental problems that we have in the Netherlands. It's a little bit too late for me to formulate an opinion about that. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. What's my opinion on the Clone Wars? I like what I've seen so far. Let's see, what else? Do you know February of 2020 GameStop is going to get a new release from Hasbro for Star Wars Black Series Jedi Knight Revenue? Ooh, action figures. I know nothing about action figures, unfortunately. Are the Ewok Adventures on Disney Plus? Not yet, but I think that has to do not because Disney doesn't want to put them on their channel, but because they still have contracts with other services. So I think they will end up on Disney Plus. Will you do another gaming live stream? Yeah, as soon as I have a little less work. I so want to game, but I just can't. I have too much work. Thank you for helping with the petition for the Star Ewok movies on Disney Plus. Sure. Always love to help my fellow Star Wars fans. Do I still have the high ground? Obi-Wan Kenobi wants to know. Well, it depends on your perspective. That's a very Obi-Wan answer. Let's see, what else is there? Lots of Disney Plus comments, of course. Riddick, is that Disney? I don't know. Cool movie. I'm in Italy, and we have to wait another month for Disney Plus. It will start in March. It'll be March before you know it. You're going to be busy with the Rise of Skywalker for a month anyway. Do you have the audio cassette of The Lord of the Rings? No, I don't. I do have an audiobook though. It's a little bit of a long read. I'd love to see a video of Father Roderick in Nazareth, Bethlehem, and Jerusalem. Actually, there is such a video. There's actually an entire documentary that I filmed there, but I haven't been able to translate it yet in English. You know, that's one of the reasons, now that we're talking about that anyway. If you're listening to it instead of watching it on YouTube, it's because you're a patron. And what I really hope I can do in the next couple of months is grow the amount of patrons. Because I would like to get to the point where I can hire someone to work for me, mostly an editor. Right now, either I edit my shows myself or I pay someone to do it. But if I outsource it, it's very expensive. One episode of 25 minutes cost me 1,500 euros to have someone else edit it. And that's considered to be cheap. But all my vlogs, all the other stuff, the English adaptations that I would love to show you and love to give to you, based on material that I filmed, I can't edit it myself. A day only has 24 hours, and I usually eat up 80% of that by working. And so I've really noticed that I cannot go on like this. I need someone who understands my type of storytelling. It was a good quality editor, but I want that person to work exclusively for all my international material. The TV shows I can probably arrange. The solution that we have right now is just we pay someone $1,500 per episode to edit that, and that's on a very small budget. Like the total budget per episode is $5,000. But so I'm ready to do that for the TV episodes, but I can't afford that for my regular stuff on YouTube because YouTube is not generating a dime for me because I turned off all the advertisements. And I have about a little more than 100 patrons right now, but that's definitely not enough to hire an editor. So anyway, if you have any ideas on how to make that a reality, I'd love to hear them. I'm going to do my best to make that happen because I know that an editor would help me to do so much more for my patrons and for my international audiences. Have you ever seen The Matrix? Oh, I love The Matrix. I'm a huge fan of The Matrix. I'm just going to quickly scroll through your comments because I need to wrap things up. It's late and I'm tired. Raven Anime says, I'm in the process of becoming a Catholic. I'm taking RCIA classes at my local church, and I've been loving your videos. Well, good for you. I'm so glad to hear that. That's awesome. Miguel says, this is the first time that I watch a live show. Glad to be here. Well, glad you are there too. So some more Star Wars related stuff. That Yoda is so cool. What a talented and very nice woman. Yes. Oh gosh, this Yoda that I showed, that was handmade for me by one of my TV viewers. This must have taken months. I love it, and this is going to get a place of honor here in the office. Okay. All righty. Yeah. I think that's about it. Oh yeah, there was a little New Hope change in the Cantina scene. Yeah, I don't know. I wish they would just stop messing around with those movies. They're good as it is. I'd like to see your reaction when Lucasfilm invites you to the premiere of Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker in LA. Well, that is not going to happen. But I will definitely do a vlog of the premiere here in the Netherlands. If I get invited, that is. Would you consider to do a vlog about the Camino de Compostela? I walk the Camino, and I made. There are actually a number of vlogs here on the YouTube channel. Just look around and you'll find them. Again, that's another project that I'd love to do internationally, but I need an editor to work on that because it's a ton of work. I have 40 days of footage that needs to be somehow recompiled into a documentary. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you so much for being a patron. Thank you so much for joining me in these live streams. I really enjoy chatting with you. And please say a prayer for me so that I can get some sleep and I can get some rest because it's not yet Christmas. Anyway, thanks. Take care and God bless. Bye-bye. Sleep well.